the Experience Darden podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and you're listening to a new episode. On this episode of the podcast, I'm excited to share my recent conversation with Earnest Pettway. Ernest is a second-year student in our Full-Time MBA Class of 2023, and he is also the VP for Darden Cup. In this conversation, we touch upon Ernest's background, how he decided to pursue an MBA, what led him to Darden, some of the highlights from this year's Darden Cup, and so much more. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. So without further ado, here's my interview with Earnest Pettway. Ernest, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Brett.
It's great to talk with you. How's everything going? How are you doing?
Everything's going great. It's a beautiful day here in Charlottesville. Spring is, coming around here. The cherry blossoms are starting to bloom a little bit. It's starting to get nice and green again. And the jackets are starting to come off a little bit. Nice weather, starting to get the tans. People are coming back from spring break refreshed. So things are really exciting around here at Darden.
That's excellent. And this is your final quarter. How does that feel?
It feels a little surreal. It's kind of crazy. I was listening to this podcast as I was applying back during the pandemic, back in 2021. And even actually the fall of 2020, when I was, considering and thinking about this coming here relative to other schools. And, it's kind of crazy to be on this podcast now 3 years later. But it's really a joy and it's an honor. And it's kind of a whirlwind of how much I've learned and grown over that time. And I just feel really grateful. And it's been a great opportunity for myself and my family. And just really happy to be here at Darden. Well, we appreciate your taking time for the conversation. It's fun to talk with you because we've actually, I'll just say, just wrapped up talking with all of the section reps for section A, B, C, D, and E. And it kind of feels appropriate that we would also have a conversation about Darden Cup as part of all of that, because of course the sections compete against each other in Darden Cup. But before we get there, Ernest, I want to talk a little bit about you and your background. So tell us more about you. Who are you? Yeah, so I am a kid from Los Angeles, California, born and raised my whole life, and decided to go to the East Coast for undergrad. I went to Villanova University where I played football, majored in finance and accounting, and stayed at Villanova to get my master's of accounting degree. Really loved it there. Just great people, great environment, great teammates, friends and family for life, and just really happy with that. And the funny story actually is, Brett, is the way I ended up here at UVA was on our football trips. My favorite thing or favorite place to go was down to either Old Dominion or JMU, because our bus rides during the fall time, usually October, November, were some of the most beautiful scenery I'd ever seen. And I was like, if there's any way I can ever get back out this area, even for a short period of time, I would love to be in this area because it's just such a beautiful, quiet place and really nice people. It's just so picturesque during the fall. And so having that opportunity when I was thinking about schools to go to, and this popping up on my radar as a consortium student being one of the top choices for me and what I wanted, I really had my heart set on coming here and knowing how beautiful a place it is and just the genuine great people that are in the state of Virginia. But to go back to my story is then from there I went back home to Los Angeles, California, where I got my CPA and worked for two of the big four accounting firms, did various accounting work out there. But I really knew, Brett, as I was getting my master's of accounting, trying to figure out my career about six years ago, that I really wanted to go more into consulting, strategy consulting, just talking with mentors and family members that kind of knew who I was and what I wanted to do and kind of my skill set. And I was better utilized doing that. And so I was told that, you need to go to a top tier MBA program to do so. And so my sights were kind of set on doing what I needed to do to get to that point. And so did various work, in the accounting field to do that and separate myself, as, CPAs aren't as common in MBA programs. And I feel like that really benefited me on the, is from the application standpoint. And just being able to work with MPG and all of the diversity recruiting staff and admission staff here at Darden has been super helpful. Everybody's been really honest and straightforward with me, and the expectations from both sides were met. And I just really love that about Darden. It's not something that they just talk about in admissions. It's something throughout here at Darden. It's,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be straightforward. And if you're willing to put in the work, you're going to get the reward out of it. You're going to get in, and reap what you sow. And so that's what I really love about this place is everybody's really straightforward. Everybody's really honest, but very kind, very genuine, and very helpful in any way, shape, or form. Nobody's going to let you fail. As long as you're willing to put in the work and put in the time, everybody here is willing to and able to help at all times. And that's just what I love about this community. And I've just been immersed in it, just really excited to be here. And I know that my time here is almost up and it'd be great to stay. I know that my time is now to move on. And I'm really excited about that and just hope to be a strong alumni and can be a great kind of advocate for Darden going forward.
So Ernest, you come to Darden, you're a brand new student. You have an accounting background. I'm sure this was popular on your learning team, by the way, the fact that they had a CPA on their learning team. But, I wonder, what was that adjustment like? You're a brand new MBA student here at Darden. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate. I had a great LT mates, and being a CPA definitely doesn't hurt. It makes you popular sometimes. That's for sure. But I would say that, again, like I was mentioning, the people here are so genuine and nice and so friendly, and everybody's willing to help each other out because everybody is trying to just get their bearings and understanding of what's going on, because nobody's an expert at everything and everybody has to rely on one another for different subjects. And so, that people would come to me for accounting stuff, maybe finance, and I would go to other folks for marketing or for DA. And so we all really relied on one another and really willing and able to help one another and put in the time and invest in one another's learning. And that's what's so special about Darden is, yes, you're investing in your own learning, but part of that is investing in others' learning and investing in others to build up a greater community at Darden and hopefully in the world and building a better business world. And so that's what I really loved about it during the core time and going through kind of the highs and lows of core, and it's just like the real world and coming out the other side and having lifelong friendships after going through that. And so that's something, I'll never regret. And I think it's just been an amazing opportunity to do so.
What section were you?
Well, I mean, it's the best section ever, and everybody that you ask, in their mind, they may say their own, but in their heart, they're going to say section E. The black and yellow is what runs the school. So it's a pretty simple answer, but that's where I stand. So I'm very proud of my section, and I know we're the newest section, obviously, but we're definitely not the last. So I'm glad to be part of the black and yellow. And if you ask anybody in section E, they will say the exact same thing. Any professors will say the exact same thing. So at least some of them will only say behind closed doors, but I understand.
So do you have, from your time in your section with your section mates in section E, do you have a favorite norm or something that y'all would do to celebrate each other, recognize each other just as a section?
We would always have an E of the week. I think that was always great. And it was different things, whether it be somebody helping to lead the class in review sessions, somebody doing something out in the community service work, somebody maybe doing a Darden Cup event, somebody that maybe had just had a child and trying to balance being a parent and doing the schoolwork. So really recognizing people for various efforts of what they've done. And that's what I just loved about E, is that everybody had such a variety of skill sets and everybody was trying to recognize everyone for all the hard work that they did. And it wasn't just the same old thing. It was always something different. And I really appreciated that about us, because we were always trying to find ways to recognize the greatness of our section as a whole. And I think that's what makes it special, is trying to uplift and build each other up constantly.
Well, we're going to talk about Darden Cup, but I want to ask about your first year experience as a participant in Darden Cup. Was it something you really enjoyed as a first year student?
Yeah, I was a Darden Cup rep myself. It's something that kind of, as a athlete, right, the competitive nature doesn't go away in me. And so I've been playing sports my whole life. So this was something kind of like a Olympics or kind of like a Hogwarts, competition amongst the various sections. And so I was like, well, what are the different competitions, and found out what they were. And it really entails a variety of skill sets. And so I was like, well, we should be the best section. Why not? And we were, in our section actually had won it the year before. So I kind of took pride in that, hey, why can we not repeat? We need to keep this thing rolling. And so that's what we did. And it was close at the end, but our section really pulled through, and I really just loved the variety of events. I only probably participated in 2 or 3 of them maybe. And I just loved being able to see my various classmates go out there and see a whole different side of them that I hadn't seen. You see some individuals that are nice and quiet and reserved in class and very astute and professional, and you see them out there on the soccer pitch or playing cricket or in trivia, and they're a whole different person. And it's just really great to see people's true colors come out and just a whole different side of them and the competitive nature. And it just becomes really fun. And then you get to see your classmates that are supporting them along their way. And it's just an excellent opportunity to be outside the classroom for you to collaborate and really get to know your classmates in an intimate way. That's kind of a low touch and just a really fun, friendly environment.
I appreciate that. I've heard the Hogwarts reference before, that it feels a little bit like that. Olympics is a good one. There's lots of different competitions. Ernest, how did you decide that you wanted to take on a leadership role with Darden Cup, that you wanted to be one of the VPs for Darden Cup?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brett. I call her my big sister. I think you had her on here last year, Kate Allen. And so she was just a great mentor to me. And we talked about it, and we talked about what the position entailed. And I talked amongst the other Darden Cup reps, and we just felt like, I include them in all my decisions. And we just thought that this would be a great role for me and a great opportunity for me to help lead the school going forward into our second year, and to continue to build on the greatness that Kate kind of established here coming out of the pandemic. And so I really thought this is one of the few opportunities where you can have an impact on the entire student body and the professors at the same time, because at any one time, Brett, I get 400 or 500 people on an event. And at some point, I would say 90 to 95% of the student body has been to at least one Darden Cup event. I would say probably about 3/4 has probably been to multiple events, several events, and you have professors that show up to probably at least half of them. And so, it's just a really great opportunity to change kind of the perception around at Darden that, yes, we do work hard and we do care about academics and we do want to get jobs, but at the same point in time, we do like to have fun, and we have people that are very well-rounded and talented in other ways. And this is a great way to show it and in a competitive way against one another, where there is at stake the pride of saying who is our best section. And so, and actually there is a party at the end for the winner too. And there is an actual big trophy. So there is something to show for it, which people do care about. So whichever section ends up winning it this year during orientation will carry around the trophy. And so for me, though, it's really been an exciting time to see how I can change people's Darden experience, whether it be first years or second years, and being able to see the smile on their face and the enjoyment they had with their other classmates. A lot of times we finish on Thursdays or Fridays, and I see them out that night and they just talk about how great of an event that was, how much fun they had. Sometimes we have partners come up to me because we allow partners to play as well, and how much fun they had in the events and how much this meant to them and how hard of a week it's been and how that's really kind of changed their outlook on Darden. That's really just something that I look forward to, is being able to make an impact on people's Darden experience. And it's something that I know, people look back 5, 10, 20 years and be like, oh, I remember that Darden Cup event when X, Y, and Z happened for myself. And it's just really exciting to feel like you're there and helping build people's lifelong memories at Darden. And this is really something where you can do that.
Well, that's awesome. It's not every day you get to be part of lifelong memories. So I'm wondering, every Darden Cup is a little bit different than the last. It feels like every VP comes in, puts their own stamp on things, wants to try to add maybe a new event or two, try something new. I wonder, what did you add this year? Did you do anything differently than in past Darden Cups?
Yeah, so again, like I mentioned, Kate did a great job coming out of the pandemic when there was a lot of uncertainty and not much clarity as to what would be allowed or how to kind of do the job, because her predecessors didn't quite have the experience of doing that because most of the events were virtual. However, I did make some changes. I made some additions and some deletions. I did add in this year bowling. and I added in racket sports, which is actually coming up April 14th, which is actually during the Darden days when we have the admitted students weekend. So really excited for admitted students to come by and check that out. I know that they've carved out time for them to come down and check that out. We'll be down at the Snyder courts playing tennis and pickleball, so that's going to be really exciting. But I added bowling, and we did that here during Q3 of this year to start it off as an indoor activity, just because during Q3 it's getting a little colder out here, so it's harder to do more outdoor activities. And we had an excellent turnout. Almost 400 folks showed up, rented out all of Bolero, and people just had a blast. They just put out a video of it, of the highlights from the event, and I think we've gotten really rave reviews, and it sounds like we're gonna, it's gonna be done going forward. My successor, Camille Favero, and the team sounds like they are really interested in keeping that going because there's such a great turnout, and so I'm really thankful that worked out well. I would say one other slight adjustment I made was for trivia this year. So last year, the place that we had it at just ran out of business, so we can no longer have it there. So I made a slight adjustment, and we had it at 3 Notch this year. And for the first time ever, we partnered with the law school, and we did a law school versus Darden trivia event. It was still a Darden Cup event, so Darden was still competing internally amongst sections with each other, but they were also competing externally against the law school. While overall Darden did better than the law school had the top 3 teams. So if they do it again, hopefully Darden could beat the law school next time, because there's a little friendly rivalry there, of course, as we're right across the street from them here on North Grounds. But we had over 500 people show up. We sold the place out pretty much, and we had a great time. Professors, administrators, people showed up in droves, and we had an amazing time. So we've had just a really great Q3, and we've had a really great just experiences thus far, a great turnout. We've almost exceeded all of our attendances from the prior year for the same event year over year. So that's been really great. And I just have a great team of ladies around me that has really been supportive in these new adventures, and we've been putting in a lot of work. So it's been really exciting. And I'm sure they may think about making some enhancements to the things I've done this year. And that's kind of the great thing about Darden is there's some things that are great and you're trying to keep, but there's also always ways in which you can make things better and enhance them. And I'm hoping they can do so.
What was your guiding principle as you thought about adding these new events? Was there anything that you kept in mind that helped you decide, racket sports, bowling, I want to make sure that these are part of the mix here?
Yeah, I think for us, I was trying to look at ways in which I could get partners involved and get the entire community involved and make sure it's something where, you don't need to be necessarily an expert at something, or don't need to be an elite athlete, or you don't need to be a genius to do something. It's more of something that's low lift that you can easily be learned and can be enjoyed by everyone. And even if you're not competing, you can still be active and be involved. And so that's where bowling came in. And so that's why, we rented out the entire bowling alley. So you have families taking up entire lanes, and people are just bowling, having fun with their friends, come by and they'll watch, other people bowling competitively, but then go back to their own bowling. We have music playing, people can get drinks and food, and it's just a very friendly, fun atmosphere. People can kind of have their hair down, so to speak. And they were looking for something like that. And I thought that was a good addition in that way. And then from the racket sports perspective, we frankly just have a lot of folks who have played that, whether it be recreationally or professionally in the past. And when I mean professionally, I mean more of like high school or college level. Whereas we do have one pro that actually is here at school and really good. And I think he will be competing in the event. So that will be really fun to watch. I'm excited to see. And so there is several folks that are doing that, and so and have participated that in their lives and really wanted those events. And I was getting a lot of voices of, can we add that? Can we add that? Can we add that? And it wasn't just one or two folks; it was across all sections. And so I really thought about and evaluated it and thought, okay, I think we can give this a go. And sometimes, Brett, you got to be willing to take risks in these positions and roles. Like sometimes, they're going to work out like bowling's works out. And I hope that racket sports does too, but you got to be willing to fail and take these risks at the times. And try to trust your gut, and what it takes to really hopefully be, for myself, as I'm trying to finish out and be successful in this role, is you have to have various groups of folks that you're taking diverse perspectives when you're trying to make these decisions, and listen to different friend groups, different identities, and just trying to understand what the people here at Darden not just want, but what they need, and what would benefit them and benefit the whole student body, and what they would want to see, and really, being entertaining for them. So I think that played a big factor into it, is not just what people want to play, but what would people come and watch and feel engaged about, and feel like, okay, this is a part of how we won Darden Cup, was this sort of event. Makes a lot of sense. Fine. We feel very prideful in this. And that's part of, my criteria.
It's hard to believe a pickleball competition would not be successful in this particular moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's the fastest growing sport in America, so I would be shocked. I feel pretty good. I actually just had a meeting last night amongst our team, and it sounds like there is overwhelmingly interest in pickleball and tennis. And then, we're going to finish it off with kickball, and there's overwhelming interest in that. And so we're really excited about that. And and one other thing that, to mention is we had soccer this year. And with soccer, though, we added a little piece to it called fan engagement. And so what we wanted is, folks were out there, they were cheering on their teams and excited to watch them play soccer, but they wanted something for other folks who maybe, weren't quite, athletically talented in that way to play soccer, and wanted other ways that they could be able to contribute to Darden Cup and to their section's kind of ability to win. And so what we came up with was some fan engagement events that involved a mocktail making contest, a cocktail making contest, which was margarita contest, and then a guacamole making contest. And we partnered with LASA, which is our Latin American Student Association, on that, and they were extremely helpful partnering with us on that, them and WAC, the Wine and Cuisine Club. And so that was really great for us to be able to do that for the first time. And we had professors as the judges, and we had a ton of people out. We had both of the deans out there, and I think we had about 22 faculty, which might be the most I've ever seen at one Darden Cup event. So it was great. And I think we're going to continue looking into doing more of those events, possibly this quarter. And I know Camille is going to look into doing more of those events going forward, just to make sure that we're covering all the various talents that people here at Darden have, and make sure they can contribute to Darden Cup going forward.
I appreciate your noting that. I think sometimes when people hear Darden Cup, they think of it as an athletic competition. And of course, there are sports, right? We talked about pickleball and tennis and kickball, soccer, cricket. I think there's basketball too, or at least there has been in the past. But there's also trivia. I think it's fair. You can consider bowling a sport, of course. There's trivia, though. There is talent show. If memory serves, so it's like a little bit of everything. Is the way I think of it.
And yes, you're correct. We just finished up talent show. We had over 500 folks there at the Jefferson. It was one of the most amazing talent shows I've seen, and we just had an amazing turnout for that, and everybody had so much fun. That honestly is probably one of our most exciting events for the year. Trivia as well. We have lawn games. Lawn games minimally. It requires a little bit here and there. And then we have the ultimate relay race, which people forget about. In the ultimate relay race, we have about 38 to about 40 events, depending. It varies based off the year. We add some events, take some out, but I would say about half of those don't require any sort of athletic ability. We had, one section lost because they couldn't do long division the right way. I'm not going to name which one, but they know who they are. And so we have, various events. That ultimate relay race, which takes place across all of North Browns. We have Sudoku, crossword puzzles. We have dog racing as well within there. We had stroller racing. We had milk chugging. We had so many different things within ultimate relay race. So there is, I would say, Brett, to be honest, throughout Darden Cup, I would say about 90 to 95% of your section can probably participate in at least one event in Darden Cup, if not 100%. I understand some people have, physical limitations. I'm being respectful of that, but I would say the majority of people can be involved in Darden Cup in some way, shape, or form. And as well, just so that people know that part of the point system is participation points. So it's not just about competition, but it's about showing up and being supportive. So that plays a big part over time in how people and how sections do. And so that played a big part in how Section E was able to win last year, was having such great participation points over all of the events. And it's going to play a big part here as we're coming down to the last 3 events for the year. And we actually have 3 sections, even kind of 4, that are still, of the 5 that are really, really competitive right now. So we're really excited about that. And we just want everybody to feel like they're welcome and able to enjoy these events as much as possible. And that includes partners, because we've seen a lot of partners out here who have, they've been so supportive of individuals, don't get to see them much throughout the week. But when we get to collaborate with them and see them, and they get to kind of come out and be a part of feel like they're part of the Darden community, I know it means a lot to them as well. So that's something that we really pride ourselves on here.
Well, how has your second year gone generally? Second year, has it been a good year?
The second year has been great. Obviously, it's a lot less stressful than core. I've been really fortunate, Brad. I just got back from another DWC with easily my favorite professor at Darden. I call her the Empress of Darden, and that's June West. We just got back from Bahrain, and it was one of the most amazing trips I've ever been on. One of the best educational experiences ever. I encourage anyone that is looking to come to Darden to look at the DWC experience, and the fact that it's funded by Batten Institute is just amazing, and that you get an opportunity to go somewhere across the world and do international business for a week is just a great opportunity for individuals that haven't really traveled the world or getting to see international companies like that, see it in a different light. And I think for a lot of us that, hadn't been to the Middle East, I had been there before on another DWC before into the Middle East, but I know a lot of folks hadn't, and it really debunked a lot of the myths about what they had thought about the Middle East and about how business is done and how people kind of are treated, and just a lot of stereotypes were debunked. And that was just really great to see so many people have so much fun across the world. And it builds, again, those lifelong friendships in just a different way when you're kind of outside Darden grounds and really get to be with one another and 24 hours a day and get to see how each other lives and understanding, and just get to really be intimate and have those kind of close, high touch discussions that you normally wouldn't have on a day-to-day basis, that are kind of tougher to have. And so that was just really awesome to do that. And before that, we went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, a big group of us, and got to see just amazing places in the world that we had never thought we would be seeing. And so that's been an awesome part of my second year. I'm also part of the Darden Prison Prep program. And so I lead one of the groups there. That's just been an amazing opportunity for myself, coming from my background, being able to be involved there. With Tierney and Greg Fairchild's program here. And I volunteer at one of the local prisons and go up there several times throughout the quarters. And it's just been an awesome opportunity to be able to help influence and be able to change individuals that want to make better of themselves from some choices they wish they could take back, and, trying to help them move on in their lives and trying to use business as a way to be able to help them grow and develop, and hopefully become business leaders or just successful individuals and contributing to society going forward.
Do you want to share a little bit more about how you're working with the prisoners, what you're doing with them?
Yeah. So what we do in the prison prep program is we go ahead and teach the case method to them. So we have various classes. We have financial capabilities, entrepreneurship, which is what I teach. And so what we do, and also foundations, that's the third class. And what we do is we go into the classroom and we teach cases just like we do at Darden, and they have the casebook ahead of time, they read it, and we teach it just like we're taught during core, which is why we usually wait for second years, because you've kind of gone through the core time and you've gone through the Darden case method and have an idea of what's expected of you. And so from there, we're giving those prisoners an opportunity to actually earn college credit now through the Virginia college system. And so it counts for that. And so a lot of our students are really excited about that, to be able to potentially work towards degrees. And so they take it very seriously in the classroom. Some of them are coming up with ideas that a lot of us wouldn't even have thought of. And a lot of them have various backgrounds in business already, so they are experienced. And it's a really rigorous process, and it's a really something that they care about in the prison. As far as getting into the program, it's something they take a lot of pride in, and it's not something that it's not easy. It's just like what we do here at Darden. They have to work, they have to put the time in, they get quizzes, they get tests, they get projects, and they get graded by us. And we're not just giving pass grades to everybody. We make them work for it, and they work hard, and we really appreciate, both sides really appreciate one another for coming in there. We don't get any credit for any of the work we do. We're not looking for that. We just want to be able to give back, and it's something that we know we truly enjoy, because I know for myself, sometimes it's been a long week and I go out there and I'm like, I'm tired. But going into those classrooms, I'm coming in and those guys are in the classroom, sitting down, ready to go, engaged in the discussion. It kind of reinvigorates me and makes me feel just so appreciative of everything I have at Darden. And it motivates me, like, hey, these guys sitting here, maybe they won't be able to have the same opportunity as me, at least not anytime soon. And they're coming in the classroom every day, excited to learn and to grow and develop themselves. Why can't I do the same things with all the opportunities I have? And I think it really has humbled a lot of us that have done this program. And it's been something that, really is a reason why I came into Darden. It's one of the main reasons I came here, but it's something that I think has put a bigger influence on me than I thought it would. I thought I would be able to have a big influence on them. And we are having an influence, I think, on them and their experience. But for us, I think we're getting so much more out of it than we thought we would have as human beings. And so, and just appreciating all the things we have in life, and appreciating learning and how important it is. And so I'm just so grateful to be part of that program. And one other thing I wanted to mention, Brett, was I'm also in the Tri-Sector Leadership Program, which I'd love to, mention real quick, that I think is something that isn't really mentioned, that's ran by Mary Margaret Frank, and Maggie. And they're so great in that program. And what it is it's an opportunity for individuals who it's actually broken out to 3 different schools: 8 students from Darden, 8 students from Baden, and 8 students from the law school. And so what we do is we bring together these 3 different programs for individuals that are interested in understanding the intersection of business, policy, and government, and how it all works together, how it's intertwined, and how it's important for us in order to make the right decisions for our society going forward. And even as being business leaders, or being leaders in the law community, or in the public policy community. And we took a trip up to DC this fall that was absolutely just amazing. And there were discussions in there that obviously I can't discuss publicly, but it was with very high individuals in Washington, and being able to speak with them very candidly about their jobs and the things they go through and what it takes to be successful. And it's not just about what they do as individuals, not thinking about us as individuals, how we can change the world, but also us as individuals, of what are the priorities in our lives, of what are the values that matter most to us, and how do we go about instilling those values in society, and making sure that we're finding jobs and roles and working for individuals that help us as we're trying to make sure we stay in line with those goals throughout our lives, and that we're not selling ourselves out for a certain individual or a certain corporation, but trying to make sure we stay true to who we are. And I think that's another great part of Darden and UVA, is you continuously trying to figure out who you are, what you represent, and what you want to continuously represent, and making sure you do work that allows you to continue to focus on that and drive the type of changes that you're looking forward to seeing in the world.
Absolutely. So you're here in your final quarter at Darden. Wonder, what are you looking forward to in the weeks ahead, maybe even the months ahead, as you move through graduation into the next phase of your life?
It's kind of crazy. I'm just trying to, I haven't quite got my start date yet, so I can't speak as to, what my timeline is going to be with that. But I'm just trying to take it day by day here, in my last quarter with my friends, and trying to make the most of every day with the people that matter most to me. And I think that's what matters most, is just trying to find your group of people that you get along with best, and trying to do everything you can to enjoy every moment with them, for as long as you can, and just have the laughs, the cries, the hugs. And that's all I'm really focused on, and trying to simplify things. I'm going to try to go out to as many events as I possibly can and support my friends, and be wherever I can be to be supportive. But a lot of it, as well, is just going to fun events, whether it be going to lacrosse games, baseball games, just going to events that we normally wouldn't be able to go to, and enjoying Charlottesville for the beautiful southern town that it is. And I think that's really something we take pride in, here at UVA, is just being one community and being there to support one another. I think it's funny you mentioned that. What do I have planned? If you look at my calendar, probably 3 weeks ago, I'd have thought, oh, I have plenty of time. I'll figure things out. As everyone that gets here at Darden will figure out, your calendar will fill up quickly and you don't even know how. And so I have plenty of events planned. I have intramural games with folks, which I'm really excited about. Plenty of parties coming up, some baby showers, and there's just a lot of exciting things going on here around at Darden, and just it's just a great opportunity for individuals to make the most of this once in a lifetime opportunity with friends and even family that's about to come in town as you're graduating and going off on a different phase of life. Because I know a lot of us unfortunately won't see each other probably for a long time as we're going to different parts of the country, but it's an exciting time to be able to enjoy all of the exciting memories we've had here and to make the most of it as we're finishing up. And we have a beach weekend in South Carolina as well. So see how we can, have a lot of fun there and make the most of it, while we're here together.
We covered a lot of good ground here. We talked about the prison project. We talked about Tri-Sector Fellows, Darden Cup, lots of good innovations and additions this year. Earnest, I have one last question for you. Same last question we ask of all of our guests here on the podcast. Is there a piece of advice you would share with our listeners, something you would encourage them to consider?
I think the thing I would consider is whether or not you come to Darden, and obviously I hope you do if this is the right place for you, or wherever you go to business school, I think you need to ensure that you have individuals that are external from the environment of what you're in, that keep you grounded in what reality is out there in the real world. And what I mean is an understanding of sometimes you can get a little bit too bogged down of, in one world or another and in a bubble. And you need to make sure that you have people who kind of are your Northern Star, or help you find your Northern Star of life, so that you stay true to who you are and what your goals were and what you came in wanting to do and who you are and what you represent, and making sure that they consistently remind you of that. And I think it's important that you do that so that you don't ever lose track of who you are, and that you continuously surround yourself around people that help you find that individual, or make sure that that individual stays on track constantly. I'm not saying that you're not going to change or evolve, but the foundation of who you are and your being and the way in which you want to operate in life, you want people that are external, that can constantly be kind of your checks and balances in life there, and that you're constantly in touch with them and making sure that you're in line with those values that you've had for yourself.
I appreciate that. Things can get very busy, can get really hectic in business school and a graduate program, and to have those people you can stay in touch with, who can, provide that guidance, that outside perspective, can help you stay in touch with your values and motivations. It's useful. It's very, very helpful. So Earnest, thank you. Thank you for your time today. It was great talking with you, and congratulations on everything with Darden Cup so far this year. And best of luck as you wrap up the season. Just a few more competitions, it sounds like, and then things will be done. Will Section E repeat, do you think?
I don't know. I'm VP of Darden Cup. I want every section to do well. Right now, Section C is winning, and they haven't ever won Darden Cup in about 15, 20 years. So I just want to see it be a good finish at the end. It's between C, E, and A. So I'm really excited to see what happens here at the end. I just want us to be close and for everyone to have fun. And I'm really excited. I hope you can make it down here, Brett, for one of the events, because it's going to be very competitive. We have basketball coming up this Saturday, and we're really excited about it. So I really appreciate your time and letting me on here. And I look forward to seeing you and hearing more of your podcast down the road.
And that was my interview with Earnest Pettway, a second-year student in our Full-Time MBA Class of 2023 and the VP for Darden Cup. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything you'd like for us to cover here on the podcast, we're all ears. We can be reached at Darden, that's DARDEN, @virginia.edu. Until next time, stay safe, be well, and thanks for listening.